Hi, welcome to Foster Denovo Talks. Today I'm joined by the lovely Jo Bunn, who is Head of Client Operations. She has a great story. She's gone from working in the marketing department, transitioning her role into operations, so she's going to share that journey with us.
I think moving into financial services from the outset was a bit of a scary leap. I had absolutely no idea about the world of finance at all. But actually, it's another learning experience.
She's also going to show us how, with acquisitions coming into the organisation, she smoothed that transition out where it could be a really bumpy ride.
This acquisition has doubled the size of Secondsight, which is great. It's a really exciting time to be part of the business. The similarities between all of our people and the values and the culture that we have has meant that actually it's been quite easy. Yes, there's been worries along the way, but actually everyone's embraced the change, and that's probably the biggest positive out of all of this.
We're going to find out something very special from her. She's been with us for 14 years. We want to find out the secret. She's going to share with us what's kept her here for so long. So if you're stuck in your career, or you want to move your career on, or you want to pivot into a slightly different role, this really is the episode for you. Well, hi, Jo. Thanks very much for coming along. A very warm welcome to Foster Denovo Talks.
Thank you very much.
Today's session is all going to be about you, and I know that you aren't major on promoting yourself, even though you've been in marketing for a long time. So, but we're going to make it easy for you. Today you have permission to say as much as you like about yourself. It's your duty to do so. Look, you've been with us nearly 14 years now.
I know. Where's the time gone?
Pretty amazing. I know. I remember it vividly when you first came on board. And over that time, you've had multiple roles, during that period. And so it'd be good just to start off. You've now reached the pinnacle of Head of Client Operations for Secondsight, which is absolutely brilliant. Congratulations to you. Be good just to get a bit of a background from you as to your journey just before Foster Denovo. What you were doing before that?
Yep. So I had been in a marketing role for a number of years. I'd worked for my previous company for almost 5 years. Completely different industry. It was waste management. So you can get two more different industries really. I had been a marketing exec working there. It was a small company. When I started, there were only, I think I was number 3 into the business, no, 4th into the business. By the time I'd left, it had expanded, but it was still a very small company. And I felt like I'd outgrown it really. So I started looking around, put myself forward with a couple of agencies, and then out of the blue, it felt I got asked to interview at Foster Denovo, and that's how the story began.
Brilliant. So today the focus is going to be about your journey and the career progression that you've benefited from. And we'll try and bring some of that out. And you did come for the interview at Foster Denovo. So what was it that made you decide to come here? I mean, and who was it interviewing you at the time?
It was Joanne Butler who interviewed me. I think the agency put the job description in front of me, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, why not? Give it a whirl. Wasn't too far from home either, which was nice. So came along for the interview, got a really good feel for the company, for Jo as well, and delightfully got offered the job. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, love to do that. And interestingly enough, Jo was the first person I met. She was my line manager then, and she's been my line manager throughout my career here. So it's,
maybe we need to thank her for some of your success as well.
Absolutely.
And so when you first started out, what were your early roles inside the company?
Okay, so I joined the business as marketing executive, specifically for Secondsight. I think that was probably about 4 years I was in that role. Then I got promoted to marketing manager, again, primarily for Secondsight. And then that remit expanded with a couple of people within the team off on maternity leave. So I started taking on some additional responsibility and looking after marketing for Foster Denovo and the wider business. And then from there, I got promoted to group marketing manager, and I was overseeing the marketing for the whole of the business, really. So that covered Secondsight and Foster Denovo.
So you're now head of client operations. You were in marketing, like your whole career has been in
Yeah.
marketing. So that kind of shows that there is some kind of career flexibility inside the company. But how did that happen with you? How did you end up taking that position?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of our business. You know, you've seen a lot of people move around, change sort of career line, really. Um, and for me, I suppose I felt like I'd probably got to where I wanted to with marketing. The operations role was a brand new role for Second Sight, and I was approached about it. I had a look at the job description, thought about it, thought, you know what, why not? It's a new challenge. I'm quite pragmatic. I like that sort of thing. Interviewed for the role and then got offered the job.
Good for you and good for us, actually.
Thank you.
So how how's your role evolved then? What does it involve? All the things you have to do from day to day compared to the previous role?
There are a number of similarities because a lot of it is still very much people focused, which is great. I love that. But of course, the day to day, I suppose, the day to day job is very different. So I think marketing, of course, is very creative. But I think some of that creativity can move into operations because you're always looking at ways to do things differently to improve. So that is definitely a sort of cross function. Um, what my role entails is very much people making sure we've got people in the right roles, that we've got enough resource, that we've got processes in place, just that everything is running smoothly and is the best for the people within the teams, for the business, and for our clients.
And do you feel that you're spinning more plates than you were before in marketing or not?
um, That's a very good question. I've not really thought about it, but it's different. I think, yeah, it's probably very similar in terms of the sort of amount of work, the variety, but at the same time, it's different.
Yeah, well, I always remember, obviously, one of your key skills and strengths was that you'd always get the job done. We could all
Hmm.
totally and utterly rely on Joe. You'd never not get the job done, even
Thank
if it
you.
meant working long and late, you know.
Hmm.
But I also remember you're a people pleaser. And in the early days, I remember having to coach you how to say no
Yes.
respectfully and politely. Do
Yeah.
you still struggle with that one or not?
Sometimes, yeah. I think I've got better over the years, and I think having such a great team around me, whilst I was in marketing and in the role I'm in now, it means that I have been able to either say no or delegate that out and actually, I suppose, manage my time better as well.
Yeah, I suppose you would have learned a lot over the last 14 years.
Yeah.
So now we've got to a place where we're acquiring companies, and we've just done a large acquisition just
Hmm.
recently. So, I mean, in your new role, how are you helping those teams, integrate and those structures, integrating all those structures? How's that all panned out for you?
Yeah. Um, it's been a massive task. I'm not going to
I can
lie. So,
imagine. Yeah.
this acquisition has doubled the size of Second Sight, which is great. It's a really exciting time to be part of the business. It has brought some challenges,
Yeah. What
but
are they? What are the biggest
yeah,
ones?
I suppose uh, the we've had to look at a massive amount of work. So as the two respective businesses, we were both brilliant in our own right, so we didn't want to lose any of that. So it's been bringing everything together to make one, brilliant Second Sight. So there's we've taken it slowly, but we've got to the point now where we really want this integration to happen, and that's what we've been doing. So my primary focus so far really has been on the people integration. So we have now aligned our people, so we are working as one team. We've set up practices, and in Secondsight, before we made this acquisition, we had a practice structure where we had teams supporting specific partners, and that worked really well. So we made the decision to adopt that throughout the business. I think the where we've mixed up the two respective businesses, if you like, it's worked really, really well. People had feelings where they weren't really sure, what was happening. There were worries, but now that everyone's integrated, they're talking, they're able to share those experience and feel a lot better, if you like, about how the integration's going. There's a shared pathway now, which I think was missing when the acquisition first came on board.
Yeah, and that's a very positive outcome. What do you kind
Yeah,
of attribute that to? Is there a key thing that's made a difference in that process that you've learnt along the way?
I think it's probably just having people come together. We've sort of thrown people together, but at the same time, the similarities between all of our people and the values and the culture that we have has meant that actually it's been quite easy. I don't think there's anyone throughout this whole process who has put up barriers. People have been quite accepting of it. Yes, there's been worries along the way, but actually everyone's embraced the change, and that's probably the biggest positive out of all of this.
Yeah, I think you're probably right in terms of I think a lot of people are trying to achieve a similar objective, just got slightly different ways of getting there. And
Yeah.
once you kind of realise that, that makes it a lot smoother.
Yeah.
And people start to respect each other for their different strengths and weaknesses, which is brilliant. And I think you're really good at bringing all that sort of thing together. Um, so, what's next for operations?
Big question. So there's still work to do on the integration project. So yes, we've got our people aligned. There's lots of other bits and pieces that we're doing. It is a team effort, and we are now looking at processes. We're looking at our propositions. All of that needs to come together. So I'll be involved in all of that. Moving on from there, who knows? Hopefully we'll settle down, and all will become BAU, and then we can make improvements on that BAU going forward. And who knows? Maybe there'll be another acquisition, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, well, in some ways we kind of hope not for a little while. Let's let
Yeah.
things settle down. It's been an interesting journey, hasn't
Yeah.
it? So, and for anybody out there who's either maybe they're inside the organisation thinking of a role change, or maybe people who have got a different role outside of of our company looking in, what advice would you give them from your journey, from the lessons you've learnt along the way? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, so I think be open to taking on a new challenge. I think the people around you often realize your strengths probably more than you might do, and take opportunities that are given to you. There have been a couple of times where I've sort of thought to myself, oh, I don't know, can I do this? And you just have to take that leap. I think certainly within the business, that's helped from the people who have been around me and who I've been working with. I think moving into financial services from the outset was a bit of a scary leap. I had absolutely no idea about the world of finance at all. But actually, it's another learning experience. I think if you're the right sort of person who's open to learning, more ready to take on a challenge, then you can do it. Nothing should hold you back.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, I think there's another thing you've got going for you as well, Joe. Your work ethic is phenomenal, always has been.
Yeah.
So I think they come together. It's that talent you've got, but also the work ethic is phenomenal. It really has been. So
Thank
I
you.
take my hats off to you there. So, um, one key lesson that you would take away from all of this last 14 years. One key lesson.
I think the people. I think it's got to be the people. Um, you know, we've got some amazing people within the company, and I don't think I would have been able to progress or get to where I am without those people around me. And that's people who report into me and my team. It's people that have helped me realize that I can do things. It's people in the business in general. I think if it weren't for the people, then I wouldn't be doing what I was doing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's one of those things very difficult to kind of articulate that to anybody
Mm.
until they're in it,
Yeah, yeah,
and you're certainly there, 14 years in it, and I think there's another 14 in you yet, hopefully.
yeah.
Um,
Fingers crossed.
I've got a surprise question for you, but I think you might have just answered it actually. I just wanted to. I'm going to ask everybody this. I think it's brilliant. So, without thinking too hard, just a blink reaction. What's one thing you just love about the company?
People.
I knew you was going to say
Yeah, I know,
that.
sorry. But it's true. The people are brilliant. I always remember when I first started, and I've told people this when I've been holding induction presentations and things, you know, yes, we've got the executive team, we've got the board, we've got that hierarchy, I suppose, but it doesn't really feel like that within this business. And I remember being in Weybridge, and I must have only been here for, a few months. And Roger came into the Weybridge office, and he knew my name and said hello. And I was a bit like, oh my goodness, how do you know me, kind of thing. But that's the brilliance of this company.
Yeah.
Um, People get to know who they're working with, and they want to know the people that are working with them, for them.
Yeah, and I think the amount of people we have with long tenure just goes to prove that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But look, that's been brilliant. Thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it, and I hope anybody listening gets a lot out of it. There's a lot to learn from you.
Thank you very
The,
much.
you the commitment and the talent you've got on that work ethic's been absolutely phenomenal. So thank you very much for your contribution to the company. It's been brilliant.
Thank you. Thanks.